Can 5,000 amateur cyclists beat 100 pros? We're going to find out, because we're in New York for Gran Fondo New York, a 135-kilometre race that starts on the George Washington Bridge over there, here in the city.
And there's a UCI Pro race that I'm in,
Followed just 15 minutes later by a gigantic peloton of amateurs that I will be in. And I think that we can go quicker than the pros on this course and potentially catch them. So let's find out. GFNY is actually a series of Gran Fondos all over the world, which culminates in this, the New York finale. Now, you can enter just for fun, or if you want to get in the front start pen, you can qualify by finishing in the top percentage of one of the qualifier events. But for the first time this year, there's also a UCI Pro race.
Now, you may have noticed we've got some rather bling Colnagos here, and Colnago have actually helped make this video possible. And we've gone to town on setting our bikes up, so if you want to see how we've tricked our bikes out, well, there's a separate video over on GCN Tech. But before you look at that, I think we can all agree my V4RS is clearly the better of the two bikes.
Whatever, my C68, look at that, it's incredible. Let us know in the comments which you'd rather have, C68, V4RS.
V4RS. As mentioned, the 135-kilometre route starts on the iconic George Washington Bridge and then loops up north out of the city. The parkour is lumpy with several short climbs littered throughout, amounting to over 2,000 metres of elevation, kind of like an Ardennes Classic, which is going to be good.
Now, just to make this clearer, for the amateurs to beat the pros, we need just one amateur to post a quicker time on this course than the pro peloton. Now, with the huge drafting benefit of the ginormous amateur peloton, this is very possible.
It's 4:30 a.m. We're riding through the streets of New York, and there's like one experience to have no cars anywhere, but also slightly terrifying knowing what lies ahead. Nervous.
I'm feeling a little bit nervous too, if I'm honest. But I think in the amateur race here, I think we've got a really good chance of catching the pros, or at least doing a faster time than them. Because at the sharp end, there's some really fast people here. The level's really high. I don't know if you remember Luca Vergolito from the Zwift Academy. He won it a couple of years ago. He actually won this event before there was a pro race. So that tells you everything you need to know. But it's not just for really fast people. Don't be intimidated. This event is for all abilities, and just finishing it is a massive achievement.
Now, you may have noticed Ollie and I are not in our usual GCN kit, and that's for good reason. For Ollie, it's because all participants must wear the official GFNY jersey, but for me, it's because I'm representing US elite team Jamison Racing, but more on that in just a minute. Over here in the pro race, these guys don't mess about. We have pro teams like Corotec and Bardiani who've travelled all the way over from Italy. There's even the development teams for Alpecin de Koenig and Lotto Destiny. And many of these guys will eventually go on to race things like the Tour de France. But if this race is raced tactically by the big teams, there is a chance that some of the top amateur riders could catch us, or at the very least, finish with a faster average speed.
While Alex was trying not to get dropped in the pro race, I was trying not to get dropped in the amateur race. Just 15 kilometres in, we were hitting the first categorised climb, Alpine, which at just 1.6 kilometres was already creating a selection of just 40 riders. The pace was rapid. We're about 30k in, about 20k in, there was a crash. I was up near the front, but it held me up, and so I've lost contact with the front bunch. Trying to chase on now. Following the crash, my efforts to chase back to the lead group had been in vain. I was told they were now 10 minutes up the road. But this wasn't a total disaster, because I didn't have to go faster than the pros. We just needed one amateur to go faster than the pros.
Now that we're well into the race and the pace has started to settle down, I want to talk about one of the real highlights for me, and that is the opportunity to quite literally be a pro for the day, having joined the Jamison Racing lineup. This is a US-based team here in New York, and they were kind enough to allow me to join their starting lineup for the day, which involved many emails, forms and insurance documents to keep the UCI and US Fund Police happy, and also ensure I was actually able to race with the real pros.
Alex in Great Britain.
It was really special for me to be able to return to the sort of pro races that I used to do 5 years ago. And the day before the race, we had the official team presentation and our team meeting to discuss the key sections of the route and make a plan for how we would approach the race.
Would you rather prioritise like having something represented within the break rather than trying to have like an additional body to try and position you for the climbs?
One of the most important parts being the two major climbs located just over the halfway marker.
After that crash, I've been chasing hard, and the route is so hilly, but I'm worried I'm never going to see the front of the race ever again now. We're over 40k an hour. It's really quick and hilly. In terms of fueling, I'm doing what Precision told us, which is try and do mostly gels, 2 bottles in a race like this. For me, because I don't sweat much, then 160 or 120 grams of carbs an hour. Probably more 120 for me. Pace has got quite slow in the bunch actually, so I'm hoping we can pick it up a bit. Might have to attack. Well, that attack wasn't the best idea I've had, as some 5 minutes later, I was caught and right back where I started.
While Ollie was busy attacking his group and trying to push the pace higher, I was doing the complete opposite and hanging on for dear life. I'd survived the first half of the race relatively well, but up the biggest climb of the race, the pro-level pace had started to take its toll on me, and I just could not climb as fast as the top guys. So I found myself distanced from the peloton and drifting back through the car convoy. And it was here that things all started to go wrong and I was dropped. But getting dropped in the pro race is very different to what most people will imagine, because it's not due to exhaustion or the high average speed or even the fact that we'd averaged 280 watts. It's because of the incredible pace over short efforts. In the first 1 hour 30 of the race, I'd spent over 13 minutes at VO2 max and accumulated over 5 minutes worth of racing above 540 watts.
Over in the amateur race, I'd got to the same point on the course with an average power of 245 watts, an average speed of 36 kilometers an hour, some 15 minutes slower than the pros. But the way in which the amateur race played out was very different to the pros. I spent over 20 minutes at VO2 max, more than Alex had, but I'd considerably less time at really high power numbers. My entire race accumulated only 3 minutes spent over 480 watts. And while Alex's race day was effectively over, it was still game on for me and the amateurs. Could we make any inroads into the pros, or at very least, catch and pass Alex? Game on.
I'm a GFNY Grand Prix finisher. Oh my god, I've made it. Ollie hasn't finished yet, so I did beat Ollie, but that wasn't the main goal. The main goal was to survive the pro race.
We're just doing a last little run into the finish now, and then that final climb up to the line. A few little kickers to get over. Whoa.
There's no sign of Ollie yet. I'm starting to get a bit concerned. Hopefully he's okay. A bit worried he's actually doing all right. Hopefully he hasn't crashed or had a mechanical or a puncture. Just gonna have to keep an eye out. Come on, Ollie, stay safe.
So it was now clear that it wouldn't be me troubling the pros either. But seeing as the amateur race started some 15 minutes later than the pros, we still had a chance with the front riders. An undisclosed number of minutes after the first placed amateur rider, I crossed the line, exhausted with very sore legs.
I found Ollie. I can't believe I was worried about him. Look at this. Look at what he's up to.
Yeah. Oh, I'm just getting a massage from my man Jovan here. It's sorting me out. But I've got the tight IT band.
Okay, so Ollie's finally finished up his massage. I've now got a belly full of pasta, so it feels like an appropriate time to run through our races because we haven't actually sat down and spoken to each other yet, have we?
No. So we don't know what happened. But did you have a good time?
I did have a good time, thanks. I'm absolutely exhausted now. I feel slightly fresher now I've had something to eat. But
yeah,
you?
I'm battered. That's a tough course. It's unrelenting up and down hills all day.
Yeah, super tough.
It is.
But, I think firstly, I'm keen to hear how you got on, but also we need to answer the question we posed at the start of this video, which was, can 100 pros hold off 5,000 amateurs? I think you've got the times.
And yes, and all we need, just to caveat this, is for one amateur to do a faster time than the pros, and then the amateurs win. Okay, right, so the fastest amateur was 3 hours, 30 minutes.
Okay.
And I was about 50th, I think.
Yeah.
And I did 3 hours, 47 minutes.
Good. Okay, fair play. I, on the pro side of things, I'm feeling very smug because I can tell you the fastest person in the pro race was 3 hours and 4 minutes.
Wow. That is way quicker.
That is absolutely rapid, but
what did you do?
my smug feeling is about to go quite quickly because I did 3 hours, 36 minutes, and I got dropped with 55k to go.
So the fastest amateur was faster than Alex?
Anytime I went uphill, I had to do 500 watts, and there's only so many times I can do that.
Yeah. That's my max sprint, that.
Yeah, it was a mega experience to be able to see, like, start on the bridge with, like, the New York skyline in the background, and then to have, like, the light coming up.
Yeah.
In terms of my experience, because let's be clear here, I retired from pro racing just over 4 years ago. So to say it was like a baptism of fire would be a bit of an understatement. But I feel like I did myself proud, right? And I think I achieved what I wanted to achieve. Like coming into this,
were you last?
No, I definitely
Well then,
last.
that's amazing.
That is amazing.
That is amazing.
But coming into this, I feel like I had my priorities slightly wrong because my most important thing was to stay safe. Whereas I feel like true racers are going at it with one main goal, and that is to win. Whereas
Yeah.
I feel like that highlights, partly the mindset of someone that's retired from racing. I got involved with the racing. I stayed near the front of the bunch. I was part of the pro race, which is really cool. But then by the halfway mark, I upped some of these climbs with like 60k to go. Especially, I can't remember the name of the climb now, where you got the one big climb, a descent, and one big climb again. I think that really,
Gate Road and then Cheese Coat.
that absolutely decimated.
Back to back.
That decimated the peloton, and all of a sudden, there was like one massive group that just fell off the back of the pro race. And then at that point, everyone's kind of in the same mindset where it's like, well, we just cruise to the finish. So I think this is something that what most people won't particularly be aware of, because it's not something you see in pro racing on the television, because the television doesn't focus on it. But it is very different to an amateur mass participation event, because once the pro racers have been dropped and aren't featuring in a part of the race, it's really like everyone just switches off and goes, cool, let's just get home now.
Yeah.
And that was kind of how it was for the group I was in. But when you're in like a mass participation event and you're racing with amateurs, if you get dropped, you join another group and you carry on racing. Your race carries on, but nonetheless, I mean, look at us. We're sat here in the sunlight now.
Pretty good, isn't it?
New York is literally a stone's throw away over the bridge and over the river if you've got a good throw on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think. Well, we should say a big thanks to GFNY for having us. A big thanks to Colnago for supplying us with two absolutely boss-looking bikes.
And what an amazing opportunity this is to showcase the difference between amateurs and pros.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of another event where the race happens with the exact same weather conditions, just 15 minutes behind the other race. And it really does highlight the difference in speed and how good guys like Alex are.
I think what we should do is, well, everyone should comment down below on what you think of our efforts in the race, but also maybe if there's enough people with an interest in it, we could do a deep dive tech video into some of the power analysis. Right, that's it from us. We're absolutely exhausted, and well, to be honest, we want to go experience the atmosphere over our shoulder. Thanks very much. See you later.
Love you, bye.